Hey, you guys ever feel like we walk on eggshells more than the actual ground? I kind of miss when conversations weren't a minefield, Like, we're so worried about offending people that sometimes we don't talk about the things that matter. And I'm a comedian, which is a difficult or dangerous thing to have at TEDx, in my opinion. And I get to poke fun at the stuff that society says that we should leave alone, that we shouldn't touch. And that's what I think makes comedy a disruptor. That's what makes it the most powerful thing. And I touch on some tough subjects, but I'm human. I grew up during the 90s. During the 90s, racism was a vibe. Sexism was casual. Homophobia, we literally called everything gay. Mental health hadn't been invented yet. In therapy, like, you couldn't get a kale smoothie and go talk to a man about your problems, weirdo. We couldn't do that. And we got whoopings. But comedy kind of just helps me make sense of it all, right? The uncomfortable conversations got to be the best part, because we want to understand different perspectives, right? But we're too scared to dive in. We're too scared to talk about it. We're too scared to say the wrong thing. And as a result, we go around and we have these perspectives that we don't understand and that we act on because we're afraid to challenge them. So all I'm saying is, I hope what I do invites you to challenge perspectives, the whys and the what ifs of all this stuff. Because really, comedy is the mediator, right? It facilitates the journey from one person's perspective to another. It allows us to reconcile some of our issues and recognize the absurdities in them. Because the funny part about laughing is so important, because sometimes it's a good indicator that you understand it. All right, it's okay to laugh. All right, enough with all this TEDx deep stuff. Let's see what type of sense of humor y'all got. Are we ready? I need a bigger one than that. Are we ready? All right, cool. So, just by a show of applause here, what do we think about interracial dating in here? Okay, all right, we got about 500 people in here, about 50 of you clapped. You do realize the lights are on. I can see all of you, right? All right, cool. Look, I think the shit's getting kind of weird, personally. Not too long ago, I was in Costa Rica. I was with this girl. She was black and white, which we all know is a red flag, right? Or a checkered flag, whatever you want to call it. But like, it was a little confusing. She had privileges I didn't understand. Like, am I dating a black girl? Am I dating a white girl? What are we doing? Are we seasoning the chicken or not? Are we beating our children, or are our children beating us? Oh, are we getting arrested for the war on drugs or treated for the opioid crisis? That's all I'm saying. Now look, you can't get mad at me for this stuff, because you got to understand, black folks and white folks tend to process emotions differently. Like, when we get upset, they say we shoot people. Particularly the person we're mad at, maybe over something very trivial. When white folks get upset, we shoot everybody. It's the exact same motion, but it's just handled a little bit different. And you got to understand, we're also different colors. Guys, that's hilarious in itself. Now, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to give you guys a few examples, okay? Think about your superheroes. You got your Supermans. You got your Batmans, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. They're just regular names, okay? Now, mind you, when this superhero is black, typically, we got Black Panther. We got Black Lightning. We got Black Adams. We got Black Manta. It's like, shit, you got to announce that a nigga's about to save your life. That's crazy. Panthers are already black. We're not talking about the animal at this point. And why is that? Because we're talking about stereotypes. What stereotype are we buffing? Right? It's that we don't stop crime. Right? And we don't, but that's not the point. The point is, that's where Marvel drew the line. That's where they were like, hey, this is getting too carried away. We don't like it anymore. Because somebody can turn green and grow 9 feet and their pants not grow at all. We're good with that. We got a hormonal teenager, tends to shoot cobweb out of his asshole. We're good. Captain America is just a Republican. We're good. But black folks stopping crying us. We're like, yo, this is getting a little too carried away. All right, and mind you, I'm not oblivious. Like, there are certain situations where this does actually make sense, right? Black Adam. There's no niggas named Adam. You got Dr. Strange. His power is time travel. That's an inconsiderate power for black people. We would never do that. And then you got Aquaman. We can't swim. We would have went home already if we could. Not sure if you guys have figured it out yet, but I'm in therapy right now. And I'm kind of a new patient, right? So the things that I'm kind of learning stuff. And not too long ago, my therapist told me I was severely ADHD, which doesn't bother me because they say ADHD is a superpower, right? Now, I don't know who needs a superpower that helps you fail the 4th grade, but apparently I do have it. And not too long ago, I told my dad that when I was a kid, about 20 years ago, I told my dad that I was ADHD. My dad's here. He's actually in the front row, just looks just like me. I don't know if we're going to clap yet. So I told him I couldn't focus. I told my dad I couldn't focus. He's a problem solver. And my dad looked me in the eye and he said, Darrick, would it help you focus if I beat your ass? And just like that, I mean, I was ADHD free after every whooping. It was fantastic. And mind you, my dad was a man of the community. So he also beat the ADHD out of other people's kids. You didn't even have to ask. Now, turned out that whoopings were actually very effective for ADHD. It does turn out they were catastrophic for anxiety and depression. Now, I am about to leave you guys, so I got to run out of here. I know we came in kind of heavy with the different subjects and whatnot, so we're going to leave on a much lighter note. We're going to talk about slavery. Yeah. But what were they thinking? At one point, I believe that slavery happened, but I don't believe all the details. At one point, they said that they tried to make it so that black folks were not educated and black folks couldn't read. Now, that was jarring to me because most of the slaves were in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Virginia. I don't know if you've ever talked to a white person from one of those areas, but they can't read either. That wasn't racism. That was a lack of resources. And mind you, I'm not anti-slavery. Hear me out. I'm an econ major. I understand what a free economy did for the United States. And I don't think black folks are upset about slavery. I think our biggest issue was that we were the slaves. If we had got a different role, we might have been on board with it, but it was a hierarchy there. And mind you, who came up with this? You can kind of figure out who came up with everything, because you can Google search it and find the CEO. Who came up with slavery? Who said, everybody, bring it in? I got an idea. We're going to go over to another country and grab the people with the biggest dicks we can find and bring them back here. Why would you do something like that? Why? Why didn't you grab the Asians? Now, hear me out, because I'm not trying to be racist. I'm trying to be efficient. But if you grab the Asians, your plantation would have been automated. Sushi would have been soul food. And the Underground Railroad would have been a bullet train. We would have been the Jetsons right now, but y'all chose the wrong niggas. There were better options. I appreciate y'all, TEDxDetroit.